What will happen when money, the thing we hold in our hands every single day, no longer reflects the true value of this world? When a green inked piece of paper, worth only a few cents to print, is used to price human sweat, blood, and the planet's resources? For more than half a century, paper money has ruled the world. People have believed that printing more money means creating more wealth. Governments promised, we will never run out of money because we can always print more. But then one day, that printing machine could no longer save the world. Numbers on screens kept inflating, while true value, silver, gold, oil, wheat, began to strike back. And if you watch this video until the end, you'll understand why this divorce between paper and silver is silently reshaping the entire global power structure and how it will directly affect your own pocket. This is not a prediction. This is a process already underway. In New York, skyscrapers are mortgaged with sheets of debt paper. In London, investment funds are holding trillions in virtual assets. And across Asia, container after container of silver and rare earths quietly leave the ports, heading east. The world is dividing in two. One side holds paper, the other holds the real thing. Even the U.S. Federal Reserve, the institution that prints the most powerful currency on earth, is now facing record losses. According to the Fed's 2024 report, the central bank has a negative equity of over $100 billion, as the interest it pays on bonds exceeds its income from assets. The greatest central bank in the world is now in debt to itself. The story began in 1971 when U.S. President Richard Nixon announced the end of the dollar's link to gold. From that moment, the world entered the era of faith, where the value of money relied only on a promise. Before that, every $35 equaled 1 ounce of gold. But after 1971, Americans could print as many dollars as they wished. And they did. From 1971 to 2024, the U.S. money supply, M2, increased more than 50 times. Gold rose from $35 per ounce to over $2,300 per ounce, and silver from $1.50 per ounce to nearly $30 per ounce. The world didn't become richer. It simply became more flooded with money. During the pandemic years, the U.S. printed over $8 trillion, equal to all the money created in the previous 40 years combined. The IMF estimated that 1/5 of all U.S. dollars in circulation today did not exist before 2020. At first, people felt richer. Stocks soared, real estate surged, and crypto exploded. But when food and gasoline prices skyrocketed, they realized they weren't getting richer. Their money was just losing value. In the U.S., the Consumer Price Index, CPI, in 2022 spiked to 9.1%, the highest in 40 years. By 2025, even after the Fed raised interest rates to 5.5%, core inflation still refused to fall to the 2% target. Americans now pay twice as much in rent as in 2019, while wages have risen only 25%. Half of all Americans live on credit card debt, which has surpassed $1.3 trillion, an all-time record. In Europe, electricity prices have risen over 200% since the 2022 energy crisis. In Japan, the yen collapsed to 160 per dollar, its weakest since 1986. In Vietnam, gold prices hit 93 million Vietnamese dong per tael, over 15 million higher than global levels. All these are symptoms of the same disease, money losing its real value. The world thought it could print prosperity, but mathematics doesn't allow that forever. And when the illusion fades, real assets begin to fight back. While America was printing more money, China was digging up more silver. While the West poured billions into AI stocks and the metaverse, BRICS nations were stockpiling gold, oil, and rare earths. One side relied on credit, the other on resources. According to data from the Silver Institute, in 2024, global silver demand exceeded 1.2 billion ounces, while supply reached only 1.05 billion, creating a deficit of 150 million ounces, the third consecutive year of shortage. Demand for silver in solar panels, electric vehicles, and AI chips has doubled compared to 5 years ago. A single NVIDIA AI data center consumes as much silver as the entire consumer electronics industry of a small nation. Experts now call silver the metal of the clean energy era, since each solar panel requires 20 grams of silver, and the world is installing over 400 gigawatts of capacity per year, equivalent to 8,000 tons of silver consumed just for solar energy. According to forecasts by Metals Focus, if this trend continues, commercial silver reserves could run out within 8 to 10 years. China controls 70% of the rare earth supply chain, 60% of copper refining, and is expanding silver mining operations in Mexico and Peru. Meanwhile, according to the USGS 2025 report, the United States now has only one large-scale silver mine left in Alaska and must import over 70% of its domestic needs. When one side prints, the other side digs. When one side talks, the other digs deeper into the ground. In 2023, China bought more gold than all of Europe combined. India imported 250 tons of silver in just the first half of 2024. Russia sold oil in exchange for gold instead of dollars, and the Gulf nations, the UAE and Saudi Arabia, started trading energy in Chinese yuan, settling the difference in precious metals. That's no longer mere trade, it's a declaration of financial independence. Meanwhile, the U.S. struggles with a $2 trillion annual deficit, interest rates at a 23-year high, and inflation that refuses to go away. Every second, America borrows over $33,000 just to keep functioning. Total annual interest payments have surpassed $1.1 trillion, higher than the defense budget. A money-printing empire is now facing nations that mine gold. A war without bullets, fought with balance sheets and vaults of metal. This is no longer economics. This is survival. The truth is, this divorce began years ago. People just didn't notice it. When Russia was cut off from the SWIFT system in 2022, it immediately demanded payment for oil and gas in gold or in gold-backed rubles. Soon after, India, Iran, and China began conducting bilateral trade using local currencies and gold. BRICS Pay was born, a payment network that doesn't need the US dollar. At the 2023 BRICS Summit in Johannesburg, member nations declared it's time the world had a fair payment system, one built on real assets. According to the IMF, the share of global foreign exchange reserves held in US dollars fell from 72% in 2001 to only 58% in 2024, the lowest level in 30 years. Central banks bought 1,100 tons of gold in 2023, according to the World Gold Council, the most since 1950. Beneath the surface, silent transformations are unfolding. China launched a national silver exchange in Shanghai, enabling physical transactions instead of derivatives. The Russian central bank established a strategic metals fund for emergency reserves. Iran signed agreements to sell crude oil to India in exchange for gold and silver. Brazil is testing coffee trade settlements using tokenized gold backed by physical reserves. All of this is shifting the world toward a system based on what cannot be printed. The world no longer trusts promises. It demands proof. And that proof is metal. A senior official at the Bank for International Settlements, BIS, described it this way: the US dollar today is like a magnificent tower built on sand. The winds haven't yet blown, but the foundation is cracking. The more nations step away from the dollar, the more fragile America's debt system becomes. And when trust breaks, no one runs toward paper debt. Everyone runs toward the real thing: silver, gold, oil, and rare earths. The divorce between paper and real value has already been signed. It just hasn't been publicly announced yet. When a marriage ends, the assets must be divided, and in the divorce of money, what's being divided is the control over value itself. The West keeps the paper promises, the numbers on digital screens. The East quietly gathers real value, metals, energy, and rare earths. One day, when the US dollar loses its faith, silver will no longer be just a metal. It will become the real money of a new era. In the new world, power belongs to those who hold what others cannot print. And that is happening every single day. Mexico announced a new silver mine with reserves of 600 million ounces, signing a 20-year exclusive deal with China. Saudi Arabia is testing oil for gold transactions. Singapore has doubled its national reserves of precious metals. The central banks of Vietnam and Thailand have also begun expanding their physical gold reserves instead of holding only foreign paper debt. And the IMF recently warned a multipolar financial system is emerging where gold, silver, and energy could partially replace the dominance of the US dollar. This is not a collapse. This is the correction of truth. Those who understand early are already moving. Those who stay asleep will be swept away with the paper. And amid that chaos, only the smart ants will survive. Ants who don't wait to be fed, but find their own way to the real treasure vaults of Earth. They are leaving behind the fake sugar, numbers printed out of thin air, and heading toward the true sweetness that shines, silver, gold, and real energy. Don't follow the crowd fighting for synthetic sugar. Be the ant that sees the real sugar, crystallized from the world's true value, because in this new era, paper burns, metal endures. Paper burns, but metal survives. If you understand this story, then you already understand the future of money. The world is entering the era of real assets, where power no longer belongs to those who print money, but to those who own value. Paper is just promise, silver is proof. Follow this channel, because here we don't predict the future. We decode how power is changing hands.